We first came into contact with Highway House through Trudy Boyce, one of our nurses, who is always looking for projects who will take patients who have nowhere to go. UCLH is a big central London teaching hospital. We admit, or the hospital admits, a large number of patients, many of whom are found to be homeless. And what we began to find was that for many of our patients there was no good place for them to go when they were ready to leave the hospital. Indeed, no place at all. So their option was the street. And we were desperately trying to find places which were better than the street, because that's an awful place to go, particularly when you've just had an emergency admission to hospital. So patients who are just about ready to leave a hospital bed but not well need somewhere safe to go. So we came across Highway House and found that you were willing to take patients who had nothing, literally, who are destitute, often with migration difficulties, with legal difficulties, but often quite unwell, safe to leave the hospital, but they need somewhere to go where they're going to be fed, where they have a chance to convalesce. So our relationship with you is really informal, just that sometimes we find that you're our only hope for our patients. So we talk to you, and sometimes you take people who no one else will touch. For University College London Hospital, you are a vital part of a set of resources, and Highway House is one of the few places which will take people without them having to prove their status or their entitlements or their legal ability to access benefits or all sorts of other things. So you're, for us, to some extent, you're a last port of call, because where we can, we'll get people housed, if we can, or into a regularised hostel or some other place. But for people who really have nowhere else to go, you're a vital resource. Highway House is just a really helpful, I'd say vital, but a small piece of the jigsaw for us. Every now and then we find that you're able to take someone where we can find nowhere else for them to go, and a place of some safety, of some care, perhaps some love, some food, just to give them a chance to recover, to get better. And we share information about Highway House with them so that other hospitals are beginning to become aware of your service. And again, we see you as a vital last resort, filling a space which nobody else is willing to fill.
How I found Highway House? One of my friend, which one was very close to me, he bring me here. He tell about me as well to pastor, and pastor tell he will bring me to church. My condition before when I come here, I was pregnant, and that was like a 4-month pregnancy, and I don't have idea where I can stay. That's why I tell to my friend, and he bring me to church, and he helped me. My experience here was very nice, but was here a lot men's, but they good care about me because of my situation. Highway House helped me a lot, because take me financially, help me also that I can go back to my country with pregnancy. Helped me a lot. For now, I live in alone with my daughter, which one have 3.5 years, and I am so happy that because I come back again to center which one helped me a lot. I meet people who help me a lot, and I am really glad to be here again.
I found about Highway House through some friends who guide me here. It was quite difficult in that period of time. I was struggling with a place to sleep. As a person, Highway House helped me enormous, as with support for daily basis things, support with how to prepare my life in the future, spiritual support, food, shelter, which is the most important thing. I've started studying again while I was here, being supported by the Highway House. I've started to study again. So I carry on with my studies, which I left behind a long time ago. I started now again, which is very important for me because I love doing computer things. So now I do computer networking and internet security, which is a 3 years degree. I'm very happy. So I think it's because of this place. This place did brought change in my spiritual life. First time I've learned the Word of God, which is Bible. Never did that before coming here. Never read a Bible. Never read just like passing through a Bible. I never understood what's in the Bible exactly. So my spiritual life was increased actually by the actions in this church. First time when I came here, I was spiritual, like more an atheist person than a believer one. So, but step by step in this place, I found some connections between God and human beings. So our pastor believed that it would be important to have Romanian service because here are quite loads of Romanians, but they are not speaking English very well. So I do interpret in translation for this service. I think it's very important for me to do something for this community as well as this community did for me.
We heard about Highway House when we were screening for TB, a homeless drop-in centre in North London. A gentleman there had been staying there and talked quite highly about it, and because we're always on the lookout for places for patients to stay, particularly if they're not eligible for benefits, we immediately pricked up our ears and got in contact with you. Because we come and we screen homeless people for TB at Highway House, but also we're looking for, often we look for accommodation for patients who've got TB who might be on treatment, but they might be homeless. And so we phoned you up on numerous occasions to see if you've got a space on the floor, which has been massively helpful. A lot of people we work with have got no recourse to public funds, so they're not eligible for benefits. And Highway House is one of the few places in London which will take people in, no questions asked, for a roof over their heads. So yeah, you've been very useful in that respect. We give them x-rays, and if there's anything abnormal, then we'll tell you about them, and we'll try and get people into treatment as soon as possible after that. In terms of what you provide for homeless TB patients, you provide accommodation, and there's other pastoral care, but I mean, so far as we're concerned, accommodation is key for health, and I think this is what the medical establishment doesn't realise. Having a roof over your head is a key component of treatment and health and well-being. So it's all very well telling people to take a load of TB medication, which can be for a minimum of 6 months, but if they've got nowhere to live, then it's not going to happen. The impact of Highway House service has been that there's another place where we can accommodate homeless TB patients. You are one of them, so you're often first on our list if we're looking for accommodation for somebody. You're another component, you're another resource, and a very needed one. If I was to recommend Highway House to anyone, it would be in terms of funding. I think it's shamed the public sector, and the voluntary sector has to, or the charitable sector, the third sector has to step in and fill the gap left by public services. There's such a huge need, so I think that the take-home message is really look at what Highway House are doing. There's a massive need out there, and use it to inspire you to fund perhaps future projects.
How I heard about Highway House was through word of mouth. It was when we needed to get patients that weren't able to access normal housing, and we were told about Highway House. And how did I contact? I just Googled it and got the telephone number and got a direct line to Pastor Alex. The relationship between us and the Highway House is very good. I can always pick up the phone and speak to Pastor Alex at any time to ask him if he has any availability for our patients. What Highway House has provided for our patients is that they have a roof over their head, they're given food, they're given clothing, and given support. Highway House has benefited UCH greatly because we know that we can contact if we have a problem case that we know that it's not going to be solved through the usual channels, we can pick up the phone and speak to Pastor Alex, and he will help us. The impact of Highway House on UCH service is that we can contact Pastor Alex. We have a lot of patients that don't have recourse to public funds, that probably don't have any ID, have all problems that we know that the usual channels will not pick them up. So they're there for us, and we can talk things through with Pastor Alex and see if he can help us. So it has great benefits having a backup of Pastor Alex.
If Highway House was not there, I think for some of the patients who we've sent you, their only other choice would be the streets of London.
The consequences of Highway House not being available would mean that there's one less place out there for people to go and stay.
The consequences of not having Highway House can be catastrophic, really, because the patients then most likely would have to go back to the streets.
What I will be do if the center not will be help me? It's very difficult question, because I swear I don't have idea what I'll be do this time.
If Highway House wasn't here, that was quite difficult. I don't know, very bad situation for me.